Welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. Daniel Dubois and Alexander Usyk are due to fight tomorrow, and I did my preview video on Monday. It's now Friday, so I've been, having little chats with people and asking them what they think, and they've been asking me other things. And I just wanted to give a few final thoughts because a lot can happen in a few days and things might happen, or maybe I didn't mention something previously in the preview video. I haven't changed my view. I still think that, my prediction is the one I'm sticking with, which is, I think it was a stoppage for Usyk between rounds 8 and 10. But I do think that we'll be sort of saying, well, you know what, Dubois had his moments. Dubois did better than a lot of people thought he would do, and I really believe that. And a couple of other things that people have mentioned. One of them is that, and I didn't mention this in my previous video, James Ali Bashir, who was Usyk's, I think was he his first professional trainer, or he took him to his first world title. He's actually been, they've done a few little interviews with him, and he's been brought in by Dubois' team. Now, I think first of all, James Ali Bashir is not one of these sexy trainers. He's not flavour of the month. He's just damn good. He just knows what he's looking at. He knows what to do. He's very, very experienced. He's an older gentleman, so he knows his stuff. And he's not going to stand on ceremony like a lot of older people. He won't put up with any nonsense. He'll just give it to you straight. But I have to ask the question, what can he do in such a limited amount of time with Dubois? And of course Don Charles remains the head trainer. Well, I would suspect, and I don't know this for certain, but he's been brought in on an advisory role. And that can go one or two ways. I remember, I think I might have mentioned this before in one of my videos, but I remember when Derek Sweet D. Williams was getting ready to fight Lennox Lewis, and they brought in Angelo Dundee. And of course Angelo Dundee, absolutely legendary trainer. But I was thinking at the time, and I'm going way back, of course, but I was thinking at the time, well, what's he going to do in such a small amount of time? And he couldn't really do anything. He was in an advisory role. And it didn't work out because Lennox did Williams in 3 rounds. But on the other hand, sometimes you get people brought in, and they in the case of James Ali Bashir, perhaps he knows things about Usyk, and he still sees things about Usyk. It's been a long while, I think, since they've worked together, that he can advise Don Charles with, and Charles can pass it on to Dubois. Again, I wonder about the amount of time that they've had to perhaps implement something that Mr. Bashir may have seen, but an old wise head is never a bad thing. And also, he knows what he's looking at. He is not a modern day. Well, no one's going to accuse him of just being a strength and conditioning coach. Not that I've got anything against strength and conditioning coaches, don't get me wrong, but that's the sort of slight that's always given to younger trainers who are, the big name, your Ben Davisons and your Shane McGuigan's. I think they're two good trainers, but when you've got an older, wiser head, sometimes they can see all those little nuances, those little grey areas. So I wouldn't rule that out. I did watch. I watched quite a few interviews with different people on the fight, and a lot of people say the same thing, but I think it can be boiled down to one of the interviews I saw with Barry Jones, who said, it's a hell of a task that Dubois has got in front of him, but what he's got to do is he obviously mustn't walk in with his chin down and everything, but he's got to just keep pumping the jab, constantly hit the chest, hit the arms, it doesn't matter, but keep your punches straight. And I think that's an important point, because when you've seen Dubois in the past, particularly if he gets you on the ropes, the hooks come out. And there's nothing wrong with hooks, obviously. You want to use every tool in your toolbox, but at the same time, you can't go, I don't know, left hook, right hook, happy. You've got to mix it up a bit. But ultimately, you've got to let your hands go. And I think Dubois will do this. This is why I think he will have some success for periods of the fight. Probably after 6 rounds, we'll be thinking, well, Dubois not doing bad. Or maybe after 4, we'll think, yeah, okay. Then perhaps in the middle rounds, Usyk will make his adjustments, and Dubois, having exerted himself, might be running a little bit low on gas, although there's no evidence to say he's got a bad gas tank. And then I think Usyk will stop him, like I say, between the 8th and the 12th. But yeah, I think he'll let everything hang out. Dubois. I don't think he'll be waking up the following day, and even though he's lost, he'll be disappointed. I don't think it'll be a case of, I should have done this. Yeah, you can always second guess yourself, but he will have pretty much left it in the ring and just got beaten by a better man. Yeah, so yeah, lots of straight punches, lots of heavy punches. The thing about Usyk is he makes you fight at a pace which you're not comfortable with. You saw that with the Tony Bellew fight. Bellew was having to use every sort of, and we're talking mental energy as well, just to sort of think, okay, I've got to keep this guy off me. I've got to stay in the fight. You're sort of overexerting yourself to stay in the fight, not to necessarily even win the rounds, or to make the rounds competitive, perhaps. And that's why, even though you gave Bellew a couple of the early rounds, perhaps you could see that Usyk was winning the fight. It was one of those sort of scenarios. I think we might see a bit of that on Saturday night, to be honest with you. What else? Well, there's the big question mark is, can Dubois handle the no doubt very much partisan crowd in Poland, because of course Poland has a lot of Ukrainian people living there. It's on the border of Ukraine. A lot of people have come over. I mean, I know Polish people. I've got a few Polish friends. They say a lot of people have come over since the war started to sort of escape the carnage. Yeah, it's going to be a cauldron for Dubois, and he's got to handle that. But with Don Charles and James Ali Bashir in the corner, perhaps he'll be able to handle it. But that's a big question mark. And I think he might take a round, maybe two, to get into it. But if he goes out there and he's proactive and he lets his punches go and he isn't sort of reticent and second guessing himself, I think he can have some success. I don't think he'll take the crowd out of it. They're going to be too boisterous. But yeah, I don't see this as being a humiliation for Usyk in the way a lot of people do. A lot of people just dismissing him, it's a 3-round job. And a lot of the criticisms against Dubois are, who's he fought? He's never fought anyone. You can't argue against those criticisms because Dubois hasn't fought anyone apart from Joyce, who knocked him out and busted him up badly. But sometimes you've got to just weigh up a situation for its own merits or lack of merits. And when you look at them, 220, I think Usyk weighed in at roughly, and 230 something. I can't remember Dubois' weight during the weigh-in, but he is clearly the bigger man in terms of natural weight. We know that, but if you look at the dimensions, there isn't a great deal of difference. Not really. So I think it's a case of, sometimes you can look at these intangibles and think, okay, yes, he hasn't faced anyone, and Usyk's faced everyone, but at the same time, what if this happened? If this happens and that happens, then this can happen. Those are the intangibles. Those are the grey areas, and I think Dubois will surprise a few people. I don't think it's going to be one-way traffic, but I do think Usyk will win and stop him late. But if you imagine if Dubois goes the distance, that could be argued that as long as he's not just trying to survive for the whole fight, like Bone Crusher Smith against Tyson or Tony Tucker against Mike Tyson, then it'd be good. But, okay, if he gives everything and he loses on points in the other guy's backyard virtually, or near as damn it, you're going to think, okay, yeah, you did all right, mate. You did all right. And don't forget, he's only 25 years old. Dubois. This is a baby for a heavyweight. And he can come back. He can rebuild again. And you imagine, some people slagged off Joshua. And I know Joshua's older than Dubois, 8 years older, but at the same time, to go 24 rounds with Alexander Usyk, where's the shame in that? If Usyk goes 12 rounds, that's a learning. That's going to school, that is. They often talk, fighter A took fighter B to school. Okay, and fighter B should be better for it, all the better for it, because they'll have learned something. There's nothing wrong with that if you give your all. There's nothing wrong with being beaten by the better man on the night, because you can take the knowledge that you've acquired, study what you did wrong, study what you did right, study what you shouldn't have done, and study what you should have done, and then you can amalgamate it together, and then next time around you can be a better fighter. It's called learning. So yeah, what are your final thoughts on this fight? Because I am looking forward to it a lot more than I thought I was. When they announced it, I thought, oh, no, I'm looking forward to it. So let me know what you think, and comments below, please. And yeah, of course, tell me who you think's going to win, but how they're going to win as well. Do you agree with what I've said, or do you think I missed something out? Let me know. Leave your comments below. Thanks as always for your time. Like the video if you liked it, and please hit the subscribe button. Let's build up Joe Stunner Boxing. Thanks a lot, and bye for now.